It's a sunny day in Buffalo.
Yes, it is.
But after we pass this budget, it ain't so sunny for a lot of folks.
Wow.
And we gonna get into that today.
Okay.
You know, people, I just want to say, you know, this journey is something that, you know, I have dreams about. I don't want to say it's a nightmare.
Right.
But it's very difficult because I hear from people. I just talked to a lady today, I'm cutting my grass, and she said, what we gonna do? The taxes keep going up. And I'm like, I don't know. Because we keep on trying to do one trick wonders instead of really doing the things that I've been suggesting. And again, people like to act like I'm a know-it-all. I'm not a know-it-all, but I think if you've been doing the same thing we've always done, we think you can get a different result. I think we're kind of insane to think that.
That's what it is.
So, you know, this $622 million budget that just passed, and again, last year I didn't vote for the budget. I didn't vote for it this year because of the instability of the things they're doing. You know, again, we're talking about the overtime, and they cut the overtime by $1 million, and they put it in the freeze. We cut about $1 million of the overtime. I put in an amendment to cut $10 million of the overtime.
Wow.
But I couldn't get a second on it.
Okay.
And so we continue to pay this overtime, and there was a big holdup because there was something sent out regarding the overtime and how the portion of it is contractual and the other portion is just kind of, you know, the other categories. But I knew that there was no way that we're going to be having contractual overtime of $2 million.
Okay.
And again, people, as I've been saying to you, it doesn't make sense that we continue to pay this amount of overtime when we've added police, we've added fire. Why are we still paying this overtime? And so they try to justify it. And unfortunately, some of my colleagues kind of believed in it. And some of them wouldn't vote for my second amendment to take it up because they said, well, if it's contractual. Well, I knew that it wasn't contractual. I knew to the extent of $10 million contractual overtime, it doesn't make sense. So we end up passing the budget 6-2. David Rivera was the only other person to go with me on that. And, you know, and I stand with it. And it wasn't no grandstanding. One of my colleagues alluded to some grandstanding because I was running for mayor. I'm going to say it again, folks. Run the tape. Because I wasn't running for mayor last year. Right. And I wasn't running for mayor the previous year. And I wasn't running for mayor the previous year for that. And I still brought up the issue of the overtime. And so stop capping, because that ain't how I roll. I roll with the facts. And the facts say, why are we still paying all this overtime when we have 812 officers from what the last budget item, 812 officers, police, 743 firefighters. And listen to this, folks. Listen to this. We're paying 116 police officers, detectives, $98,000.
Wow.
116. This is the facts. I ain't making it up. We pay 331 officers $95,000. We pay 65 $90,000.
Wow.
We pay 95 lieutenants $109,000. Help me make sense of this.
Wow.
They say crime is down.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm trying to make sense of this, and I just
you
can't.
ain't gonna be able to make sense of that. You know what I mean? But some people gonna tell you that. And then, you know, I heard that the one of the colleagues said, "Oh yeah, he's saying this because of that." But we've been running that play for the one was in 2024.
Yeah.
We've been running that thing, and so we know that that's not true.
No.
Okay. But yet and still they got to throw that out there in the air just to make people think that that's what it's about. But people, as we've been telling you, and Councilman have been telling you for a long time now, pay attention, because they're counting on you not paying attention and doing things like you did them before and getting the same results that you're getting. And like he's just said, that's insanity, that to do the same thing over expecting to get a different result.
Yeah, and again, nobody has said cut police or fire.
Nobody.
I never said that.
Nobody.
Never. So don't believe while you're here.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about that because I know people are already saying we probably need more police, and I don't know about that right now. But what I would say is that we do need to cut the overtime, and we can't eliminate the overtime,
right?
But we need to cut it. So I'm not saying, because there's no way that because part of it is contractual. There is contractual portions of it. And I want to say like it was like about 3 million or something. But now listen to this, folks. And I'm trying to make it as simple and as plain as, because sometimes you hear finance stuff and you don't understand it. It's kind of over your head. But I'm trying to break it down to you. You know, when I'm looking at the salaries of police and fire, the average salary for a Buffalonian is at $31,000. The median is $48,000. So you got to make sense. And I'm not saying that these ladies and gentlemen are not worthy of getting this money because they have dangerous jobs. Absolutely. Nobody's going to dispute that. The salaries that they start out with, they get. And if there's overtime because of fires and those things, that's going to be part of it. But to the extent that we're paying it, you can't make sense of it. So again, I did put forth an amendment. It was not voted on. It was kind of ignored, basically. But people want to try to act like we're doing something. So when we look at the amendments, we saved, or we cut about $1 million of overtime that's going to be in a freeze account. But again, that's insignificant when we're looking at millions. Like, again, I've told you, we've been paying over the last 5 years, $127 million in overtime.
Wow.
That's a big number, and that's
Yes,
not even including this year.
Whoa.
And so, again, I'm restating some things because I want you to hear it again. I want you to get this in your mind that we're continuing to pay increased taxes, but we won't make those tough decisions. The acting mayor said he refuses to cut any bodies. So what he's saying is that we're going to keep increasing taxes, and now they're recommending that they're going to have, instead of having picking up the bulk trash twice a year, just once a year. And again, I'm not even going to knock that, honestly, because I think there are people taking advantage of the city. If you own property in Amherst or Cheektowaga, I do think people are taking advantage if they have property in Buffalo and dumping it here and it gets picked up. So I'm going to say there's some legitimacy to that. However, when we're talking about the deficit that we're talking about, those are small potatoes. That ain't nothing, you know. So that was another issue. They're talking about some type of ruling from the state to assist with those who can't afford the taxes. Again, that hasn't been approved by the state, but again, that's what they did before. When they talked about the bed tax, they put that in the budget, but it wasn't even approved by the state. So again, we keep doing the same things that we always done. And you know, I was just at a forum, and someone made a comment about me saying that I'm, in many cases, the lone voice. And I almost kind of like, yeah, well, but you were part of it. Folks, I'm gonna tell you, when I say this, I'm not saying it because I want to act like I'm all that, but I'm telling you the facts. And I'm telling you the facts from what we've seen and what we hear. And if you keep going down the same path,
Come on.
you are gonna keep you're paying for it. You're paying for it every time we make bad decisions or we minimize the issues. And you can't tell me that we're going to keep paying overtime to people who get a good salary.
Right.
What I just told you, 99,000, 100,000 with detectives, captains. How many captains do we need? How many detectives? I don't know. But those are the types of things that I think need to be addressed somehow, some way, because you're paying for it.
That's right.
Again, here we go, paying, increasing our tax 8%. So what is it going to be next year? What are we going to sell next year? Because again, I'm trying to help you make sense of this. We're selling the parking ramps. We're establishing a bed tax, 3%. We're also going to be instituting a fee, an entertainment fee, for those individuals that go to the Shays, go to the McLean Hands, go to the Key Bank Center, because they look at those dollars that we get from that will help us pay for police and fire.
Right.
That may make some sense, but again, we're trying to bring people downtown.
That's right.
How does that? Are you gonna go downtown if you have to pay? If you're staying at a hotel, you got 3% you're paying on there. If you want to start parking, you want to park somewhere, you're gonna pay a little bit more for parking, and you're gonna have to pay another fee for entertainment. That's a win. I think that's a winning recipe. Do you think that's a winning recipe?
No, not to me. I don't think so.
And I'm just, come on now. I'm
No.
just being real. I'm not
No.
being funny. I'm being funny a little bit, but I'm just saying, does that make sense?
No.
We get these questions for the mayoral forum. How will we attract new business, or how do we get downtown more exciting? We don't get it that way. And again, I don't know what these folks are thinking. Again, I don't know what to say. I don't know what other city, and I'm sure these other cities that you go to, there's some type of fee you're going to pay. I'm good with that.
That's right.
But that we're giving them all of that,
Yeah.
and we're saying we're trying to attract people downtown.
Right.
I don't know how we do it. But again, this budget is one that I question, and we're selling our assets, the things that the controller said that's made us money. And so I keep going over this, folks, because again, you can't expect the acting mayor to work with dealing with the overtime. He's endorsed by the unions. He's not. He's got to do this. He's going to do this because he don't care about you. He only care about the union. Because we have 8% and we refuse to cut the overtime. They don't care about you.
That's right.
Come on. I'm telling you the truth. And when you listen to people who go against me, you got to consider the source. What is their angle? What are they getting out of coming after me when many people say you're the only one that makes sense? Many people say that. I'm not just saying one or two, and I'm not just saying people on the east side. Many people say you make very good sense. And so again, being mayor of the city, you got to be the mayor of the entire city, not just a portion of the city, not just some groups that endorse you. And that's what a big part of this is, a lot of endorsements right now. And those endorsement comes with ties.
Right.
And
we know that.
Yeah.
We knew that when they first started out in terms of these endorsements, and they sent you the applications, the questionnaires, and all of these different things that they had. We already knew where it was going. You understand? And it's still good. But right now, you're on a roll as it relates to telling us exactly what's going on in this city. And you always had your hand on the pulse of what's going on. And you ain't going to expect everybody to be on board, but I guarantee you there's a lot of people that's listening to you, because I hear it every day when we're doing our phone banking, when we're doing our canvassing. I hear it every day that these people are saying, this guy he's got it. He's got the answer, okay? But they don't want to let you speak out. They don't want you to, and they're going to try to stymie you every chance you get. But people, continue to pay attention, okay? Because if you want the community in Buffalo to look like it look, smell like it smell, then continue to do what they were doing. But right now, if you want some real change in the city of Buffalo, you need to be voting for every chance you get for Rasheed N.C. Wyatt for mayor of the city of Buffalo.
And Will, thank you. Because at the end of the day, I keep saying to you, don't just listen to what I'm saying. You can go back and hear. One of the members, and I'm not going to say her name, who comes to a lot of our council meetings, she's a community advocate. She was screaming out from the top of her lungs how upset she was that we voted on that budget, that we agreed with that budget. And I felt bad, I felt bad because I know that there's so many who are going through so much right now. We just had a press conference the other day as it related to the Bailey Avenue project that the Trump administration is trying to pull back on that we can't have the NFTA transit system that they did all this advocacy for, did all this public conversation on, and it seems though we may lose that.
Right.
And that was going to go right in parcel with the Bailey Avenue streetscapes plan that's going to start from Windspear to Kensington. And so these are positive things that are happening in our neighborhoods,
Right.
But a portion of it may not come through because the Trump administration is saying, oh, this may be related to DEI, so we don't want to give them, and I said this, and I'm not going to bite my tongue. They want to take us back to a time when we were picking cotton. People, y'all better pay attention.
Come on, man.
They're trying to take our history away. They want to get rid of all the history books that talks about how we were mistreated. And they want to say, oh, there's nothing to see here. But you want to give millionaires and billionaires more money, tax breaks, but take from people who are already struggling. I talked to a lady the other day about her Social Security. And I said, I wish I could do something about it. We're speaking up, our congressman. I know that young lady, that Jasmine Crockett, man, that lady is on fire.
Yes, she
She
is.
on fire.
And they trying to silence
they
her
try
too.
to silence her too.
Yeah, that's it.
And when they got two Caucasian women going after her,
Right.
but she up like, listen,
Yeah.
and, I'm like, listen, I'm with Jasmine. I'm like, yeah, we gonna go. Let's go to toe to toe.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's about these people.
That's right.
Who are already struggling. You're gonna take a heap away. You're gonna take food stamps away. You're messing with Medicaid. You're messing with their Social Security.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And so we all gonna be in line for food stamps or trying to get something somewhere. Or it may be where we gonna be robbing people to do that. I mean, honestly,
I hope not.
We gonna eat. But that's where we are right now. Where are these dollars gonna come from for the food bank of Western New York and all those things, you know? And so it's so much happening. And so again, what I've said over and if you heard me on this broadcast, say we must take care of what we can take care of because other things are gonna happen. We can't. I can't help people with their Social Security. I can't help people with their food stamps. But we could make sure our streets are paved, make sure our sidewalks are good, make sure we keep taxes low. Because guess what, folks? When the taxes go up, everybody's affected. And not everybody can afford 8%. You know, so when the taxes go, the landlord gonna say, hey, sorry, the taxes went up. We're gonna have to boost your rent.
That's right.
You know, when the user fee go up, guess what? We're gonna have to go up on your rent. When the water goes up, all these things are hurting us.
Everyday people.
Yes. And so when you think about poverty in our city, how do we change poverty when we keep on raising up the taxes?
Right.
I mean, it's real. You just can't think that raising taxes for the entire city is not affecting the least among us in this community.
Come on.
And so at the end of the day, you know, if we don't get back on solid fiscal ground, we're going to all be suffering. You know, taxes hit me and I may be able to incur and take it, you know, but sooner or later I ain't going to be, because at some point I got to retire like you will.
That's right. That's right. And at some point I might not be able to stand it. You know what I mean? But the bottom line of it is we got to be passionate about the least of us, you know? And that's what the word tells me, that you got to be passionate about the least of the people that can have, that can do. You're supposed to be looking out for them. Right now we're at 3435 Bailey Avenue, right at Highgate. And I need all the support that I can get for you to come over here and help us to be able to push this agenda that the councilman has going forward. We need your help. I've been asking for weeks. Some people have been showing up. Some people have been telling me a lot of different things. We're getting signs out. We're getting things out that lets us know that the people are listening, okay? Because when we call them, they're saying, yes, bring me a sign because I'm with Rasheed. And so therefore, again, 3435 Bailey Avenue, right at Highgate. Come to the rear. We'll be waiting on you.
Yeah, we're waiting on you. And we, again, as I've been out putting signs up all over the place, I thank everybody. I thank you. You know, this is not an easy job. And let me just tell you right up, this ain't something I wanted to do. It's not, believe me, I could be doing something else.
That's right.
But I'm doing it for you. I really am. And I'm not just saying it. I really am, because I see the people and the pain on folks' face when they're looking at taxes and their rent is going up and those things. Seniors who are just still struggling because of this shell shock thing that this Trump administration keeps putting out, tariffs and this and that. Everything is going up. And so at the end of the day, we need to be considerate of the people who are on fixed incomes. And there was a lady that was at the meeting that said, you know, hey, you know, it was one that screamed out and the other one just said, Councilman, what are we thinking?
I know.
And come on, I know you all are thinking that, but not everybody was at that meeting. Not only a couple of people came to the meeting. That's the other thing. I think we got to be more engaged. One of my colleagues said, because we had changed the date, we had to get the mayor, we had to get, the mayor gave us the budget on May 1st. And we had to the 22nd to approve it, 26th to approve it. We changed that date to April. And one of my colleagues said, well, I didn't see that working. It didn't work. Well, you know what, honestly, it didn't work the way I thought it would, because I thought we'd have more community engagement, but they just let the clock run out. You have people who really aren't about community engagement. They don't want to hear your voice. They just want you to be silenced. And that's the truth, folks. They don't want you to hear your voice. And there's some that look like me that feel the same way. They want to silence it. So again, we got to fight, because if we don't stand together and fight, we're going to lose this.
That's
and
it.
we're going to be in a worse situation. You know, I said this during the press conference. 15 million people stayed home and didn't vote. And Trump got in.
Yeah.
And now look at what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I believe I have a message. I believe I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on with this city.
You
and
do.
I have passion for the people of the city of Buffalo, all sectors. So that one person that said, don't vote for somebody because they're black, I don't want you to vote for me because I'm black. I want you to vote for me because I'm qualified.
That's it.
Because when I go through my qualifications, that I was a banker for 15 years, I worked at chief financial officer for a couple of organizations, and I was president of a credit union. More importantly, I've been a community person for a lot of years, working for the Concerned Citizens Against Violence Coalition, started a charter school. I've been a community person. I was president of NAACP. Come on, people.
Let alone 10 years on the council.
And 10 years
Come on now, at
success.
least.
I was duly elected 3 times.
Yeah,
on the
let
council.
alone that one.
So
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm talking about, and I care. And I think the people that you're going to be hearing on our commercials, my friends at Mindframe Media have done a great job of getting people who are just ordinary people talking about my candidacy and what I've done.
That's right.
And when you start hearing that and seeing that, you're going to know that everybody can't be wrong, and everybody just ain't singing my praises. There's some people that are a little bit critical, but then guess what? When we talk to them, they change their mind on me, because people have said things about me, but when they talk to me and I answer their question, okay, that guy's not bad.
That's right.
He's on point, you know? And so again, don't just go by what you hear. You can come on this broadcast and you can ask me questions even now before we get ready. I think we have a few more minutes. If you have a question, you can put it forth and we will respond to it. I think there was a woman that I think Glenda Black or somebody that had 3 or 4 questions for me and we responded to her. We did a video response. So I want to respond to those questions. I don't think there's any question that's too hard.
That's right.
Just ask me and I'm willing to put forth the time. If you're willing to put forth that question, I'm ready to put forth the time to answer the question. Because at the end of the day, folks, we have to be more engaging. And I think that a lot of elected officials get a bad rap because it seems as though we don't want to have that. Well, you can watch me. I have a breakfast coming up on June 7th that you can come to, that I do it every quarter. I don't do them every month because I think I've been here long enough. I know what the issues are, so I don't have to do it every month. But every quarter we have a breakfast and we have pretty much close to 100 people or more at those meetings. It's not a meeting as an issue. There's a meeting because people want to know what's going on. And so I believe that my district is one of the most engaged because we've done that on purpose. We've talked to the people, we listen to the people. And I want to hear what your thoughts are. It's not just my way, it's our way. And so again, I will do that as mayor. I will continue to have that same passion to hear from you, to understand what's going on so that we can take care of situations.
I think we have a question.
Or a question.
Question from community's daughter, Janae Solar Ingram. Peace and love. What is the solution from your current position?
What's?
Don't quite know what she means by that, but she said, what is the solution from your current position?
Yeah, I need a little bit more detail on what that is, because right now, the biggest issue is the finances of the city. And so I've already recommended cuts in overtime. That's probably the biggest. And then also looking at other areas in which are not impacting the quality of life of residents. So, you know, I think that's the first step. But the other piece is, you know, sitting down with the community and having a engagement on the priorities. What should the priorities be? Because, you know, right now we're under fiscal constraints. So I can't come out here and say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I do need your input in what the priority should be throughout the city. We got to start looking at how do we prioritize the things that are important to you, not just important to me, and other things that may be regulatory things that we may have to do. But again, I want you at the table to find out what those things are so that we can put a effective plan in place that you can see change. You know, one of the things we always hear about doing this and doing that, but we hear sometimes no follow-up. You know, I heard from folks during 514 that were frustrated that they were told money was going to come that way, but they haven't seen it.
Right.
And so again, that's not my district,
And
so I can't speak to
how many years
that.
has that been? 3?
That's been about 3.
Oh, okay.
So I that's not my district, so I can't speak on those terms. But I know they have those meetings that you can go and ask those questions, and I don't know how many people attend them. But those are the type of things that frustrate people, and they feel like we're always sold a bill of goods. But when it's election time, right?
That's right.
They all come through
out the
They
woodwork. They come from
They
everywhere.
come through, but you don't see that progress happening during the
That's
regular
right.
part of the year.
That's right.
And again, the acting mayor is everywhere, everywhere. He's got people on his
Right.
team that you ain't never seen so many folks in those commercials. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But
Exactly.
hey, who am I?
Yeah.
I'm just a man in the mirror looking
Yeah.
at what's happening in our neighborhood, what's not happening what hasn't
Right.
happened in our
Right.
neighborhoods.
Right.
And so when people, go out and telling people, don't vote for me, don't vote for someone because they're black. I can agree with that because we had one that didn't do very much for us. So, but that's not my answer. My answer is, I want you to vote for me because I'm qualified. I ain't saying you ain't got to vote for me because I'm black.
That's it.
Vote for me because I'm qualified. And I think that we need to all be looking at that. What are the person's qualifications? Or because a lot of us we work for somebody because they gave us a job.
That's it.
But the East Side look like the East Side. And I'm just saying it. You know what I'm talking about. And I know the people
they do.
the people who are watching this broadcast right now, who are just like, man, I wish I could just get him. Because I'm telling the truth.
Right.
And what the Bible says, well, the truth shall set you free.
Yeah.
And many of you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have a job, so you're going to be quiet or you're not going to be with me because I'm messing with your job? I don't know.
Yeah.
Got another question?
Yes, she clarified or expounded on her question. Solar asked, as the council member, what do you think we should do to be more engaged?
Well, I'm doing it. I'm talking to you. And I've done that as duly elected council member for 3 years in my district. And many of the people will tell you that this council member listens to them and he's engaged with them. So it's not where I'm waiting until it's election time. I'm doing it every quarter. I'm doing it at different block club meetings. In my district, wherever I need to go to hear from the people, I do. And so that's the most important part. And some others will say the same thing that they do. And, every council person is different. But I think I've done a pretty decent job at listening to the people, and that's why I've been duly elected 3 times, because that works for them. And I speak up for them. When it came to the school zone cameras, when it came to the opioid treatment center, when it came to dealing with those, absentee landlords and all those things. We just had an issue over at the lofts on Minnesota, and I listened to those people. Now they had the fences fixed. Their fences fixed where they wasn't fixed. It was broken for 3 years.
Okay.
But when I got involved, we got some change. And again, standing with the people, we made that happen.
We had another question.
All right, this question comes from Janetta Reed. She asks, what district are you running for? I'm in Cheektowaga, so I want a better understanding when I vote.
Okay, I'm not running for a district. I live in the university district, but I'm running for mayor for the entire city. So thank you for that question. So we have 9 districts in our city, but mine particularly is a university district. So that's where I've been for the last almost 12 years. And we continue to do the good work, listening to the people and engaging them on issues. So thank you so much for that question. If you got time, please, send one more question. I think we have a few more minutes before we wrap up. But I like that. I like the question and answer period. I mean, people, and when we have this broadcast, please, people, feel free to ask me any question. We're going to interrupt what we're saying to hear from you, because that's what this is about. This is about two-way engagement, to hear your questions and hope that I can answer you, just give you some clarity, because an engaged community is a better community.
That's right. I agree. I agree 100%.
I mean, you can talk about Beverly Gray. Beverly Gray was one of the icons.
Very engaged with the community.
Mean.
Yeah, that's the one.
And many of you know I'm not crazy, and I'm definitely not mean. But that's that's how they play the game, and you got to understand the game. Will, you've been so helpful to me to help me through this whole process. I'm running for a position citywide is a huge undertaking.
Yes, it is.
And you got to have someone that knows the technical aspects of it, as well as knowing how to deal with volunteers, because that's what this is driven by, many volunteers. Now, some folk got money. That ain't my story. But again, I'm not bought by anybody either. I'm not beholden to anybody but the people who have elected me. And so I prefer that because again, I don't want to have to make any decision that's not in your best interest. And I've shown that as council member. If I'm not fighting for you, then I'm not fighting. I gotta be fighting for you. And what we've gone through over the last couple of years, you know, $331 million that we just wasted from the American Rescue money that could have helped us get back on our feet and get back on solid footing and have a reserve. We don't have it. We have zero. Syracuse has over 100 million in reserve. The city of Buffalo has zero. Second largest city in the state, and we don't have any money in reserve. That should tell you something. And we're still not gonna have anything in reserve, even with this budget being passed. So, you know, I thank you all for always tuning in. I'm gonna continue to do this program and give you the real information, the truth. You know, you read a lot of stuff, you hear a lot of stuff, but you know what? It's not true. They minimize me. I'm telling you, some of you already see it. You done said it. I don't see you on TV as much yet because they don't want me to be present telling you the truth. They want somebody else that's going to continue to keep the same old train going, and that train ain't helping you. So for Councilmember Rasheed Wyatt, candidate for mayor, and my campaign manager.
Yes, sir. Willie Morris here in 3435 Bailey Avenue. I'll be waiting for you. I want to keep the light on for you. Amen. Come on down.
Monday through Saturday, 1 to 7. Come check us out. Y'all have a great day.